Yeah. They say I'm confrontational. I want peace, just not at the cost of my silence. Speak up. Through the hood, I keep hearing people say I'm supposed to die tonight. They can't destroy what they ain't built in the first place. So I'm finna ride tonight. I went from a truth seeker to truth speaker. Truth through the booth, your Bluetooth.
Your Bluetooth and blue speakers. Hold on, let me turn this down. I was participating in a live on IG. They're so loud. Can you guys hear them? Okay, I turned it down even more. I wanted to come on here and talk about Demi Lovato. They're on their chilling out for the great state of California. You know, you got Uncle Sam, who's a Californian, and he feels like California is the greatest place on the planet. I don't think so. But hold on, let me pull it up so y'all can listen to this madness. Listen to this.
James. Don't talk about gun laws because I'm about to embarrass you.
Oh Lord!
Why isn't DeSantis past constitutional carry?
Oh, they're about to get into a debate I don't want to have. So they're having a cool conversation about Florida versus California. Which one is better? Which one's worse? Gavin Newsom. Sunni, it would be hilarious if you weren't muted, just roasting them. No, I had to hop off there. I had to hop off because look, California sucks, and I don't want to hear people chill out for California. California fucking sucks. I know hella people who live there. I have so many family members that live there, and they don't even like it. Just saying. And these people aren't poor. All right. Cost of living in California is high as finna. But how are you guys doing? I'm back on YouTube. I need to get back into the rhythm of going live. Well, let me turn this off. Do me a favor, guys, and for anybody that's watching on IG, all right, tell everybody to come to my YouTube and abandon ship over there on James Live. There's 29 people there. I have 21 people here total. All of you guys come to my live. Come on. Come on. Pause. How do I pause it? Good to see you. What's up? I know it's been a minute. I need to go live more often, but you know, kind of get busy with stuff. You need to let them know how to find you. What do you mean? I put it in the chat. If you guys want to be able to look, hit the website in my bio to join on YouTube. How about that? Boom. Party time. The link for my YouTube anytime I go live will always be in my bio. Always. I don't see you on Instagram. I'm right here. Everybody leave that weak ass talk about California. We talking about the LGBTQ community, which is my specialty. It's my favorite. It's a passion of mine because I think these young kids need actual help and not people presenting dangerous thought patterns that can ultimately go bad for them. We're going to be talking about the suicide rate. I'm going to be talking about Demi Lovato. I'm going to go back into the log cabin Republicans a bit. And we're also going to talk about how this somewhat coincides with, let me not say somewhat, the majority of this conversation that we have on this side really, really highlights who is doing most of the pedophile activity. They can come for me. Put me on the map. You know what? Let everyone know that I have these conversations about gays, and also let them know that I have, and I shouldn't even be bragging about this, but this is something that I can use against the left, since the right is about owning the left. There are hella trans and gay, bi, gender fluid people who will follow me and rock with everything I say. So clearly I'm not that hating if those people don't take issue with what I'm talking about. I'm just saying. Let me see. I'm going to leave this up for a bit. More people will come. Excuse me. But I think the most entertaining conversation piece we can get into is going to be Demi Lovato. At some point in the show, I will send a link for people to join. If you disagree with what I'm saying, if you agree. I don't see comments from Facebook. Let me fix that real quick. Dang. They're so loud. They're just talking over each other. That's how you know when we're having fun. When none of us are being respectful. We're just like, woo, 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 woo. Boom, it's open. Hopefully I can see everybody's comments. Okay, I can. What's up? Love you too, Crystal. Shout out to Crystal. Crystal's been a long time follower, man. You've been rocking since the beginning. It's always good to see you on the chat. It's always good to see you on the comments, interacting. I love it. All right, so YouTube is good to go. I mean, Facebook. Do me a favor while you're on Facebook. Anybody who's watching on Facebook. What's up, Bingo? Please hit the share button so that this video can go out. Please hit the share button. I'm going to share it. I'm going to show it, but I have stuff to do on this end to make sure that all my stuff is working. All right. So let's go over to Demi Lovato. Demi Lovato decided to come out and announce her pronoun change. I'm not really sure why this is breaking news, but it is all over the net. And I thought it would be funny to talk about and poke some fun at it. But I'm going to let you hear what she's got going on.
For someone like me, I'm still learning what all of that means. And I want to be very respectful of the pronouns that people would like to be referred by. But admittedly, the they, them, I still don't quite understand. Can you please explain it to me?
Yeah, so they, them is, I've actually adopted the pronouns of she, her again.
Now I have to pause this because if I don't pause, they will try to take this video down for copyrights. I'm not copywriting, all right? Let's rewind it back just a little bit. Let's rewind it back. I'm going to play this again.
Can you please explain it to me?
Yeah, so they, them is, I've actually adopted the pronouns of she, her again.
I've actually adopted the pronouns of she, her again. What? Let me listen to the rest of this. This is crazy. This is crazy. They, them, she, her. So do you think Demi is ultimately admitting that she's got multiple personalities floating through this little brain of hers? Because for you to be she and her is singular, but you're also they, them. And it was interesting to hear. Actually, I was just reading through this article. I'm going to read some stuff for y'all. She said, this is the craziest thing ever. She says, so for me, I'm such a fluid person that I really don't find I am. I felt like, especially last year, my energy was balanced in a masculine and feminine energy, so that when I was faced with the choice of walking into a bathroom and it said men and women, I didn't feel like there was a bathroom for me because I didn't necessarily feel like a woman. I also didn't feel like a man. I just felt human. I don't know what that means. I have no clue what this means. This sounds like psychobabble of someone who is going through a traumatic mental crisis. And instead of announcing it as such, we are putting this on news. This is on New York Post. Of course, they post a lot of crazy things, but for people who say that the LGBTQ agenda or the gay agenda, the gay mafia, or the Decepticons, whatever they feel like calling themselves, for people to say that there is not a concerted effort or an agenda to almost encourage this lifestyle, what planet are you living on? Like, what planet do you live on? Why do we need to know that when she went to the bathroom, she didn't know which one to go because she just felt simply human? Well, we're all human. That's a species of people. But you are a gender. I'm sorry, you are a man or a woman. You literally just acknowledged that you found, especially last year, my energy was balanced in my masculine and feminine energy. So you clearly know that there are only two different things that you should be feeling. One, you should feel off top because you're a woman. 1 second, y'all. I'm going to play some more of this video. Thank you. Thank you. See, I'm back. This is what I used to do all the time when I would come on here. Forget to unmute. Soon you're muted. I gotta turn that into a shirt. I was reading this little tweet that I guess one of her fans put out. She thinks it's weird that the media decided to, I guess, showcase that she's calling herself she and her now. I don't quite understand what fluid means. I don't understand how you can't feel like a gender. Like, how do you not feel like you're a woman or a man? I get that it's a mental disorder, but they're promoting this as if it's normal. As if it's normal. I wish I could find the podcast. I spent some time trying to find the podcast. I couldn't find it because I wanted to hear the rest of what she had to say, but let's get back to her statement. I didn't feel like a man. I just felt like a human. And that's what they, them is about for me. It's about like feeling human at your core. Does anybody else feel a little lost? How do you, what does it mean to feel human? Because I feel like humans exist, but we don't feel like we're human. Maybe I'm trying to apply something logical to an illogical thought pattern or thought project, because that's what this is. A lot of this stuff is just experimenting on people. But what does feeling human feel like? What does that mean? I feel human. I don't think I've ever heard someone say, I feel human. Have you guys ever heard that? Demi has lost her mind. I agree with you, but I think that there's something deeper and more mental going on that people are willing to admit. And I think that's really sad because these people are suffering. Since you don't want to hurt their feelings and tell them, yo, you 5150, you're a little crazy. You are a little crazy. It's illogical. Common sense has gone out the stinking window. I agree. I think she has borderline personality disorder. Scary chick. Scary chick. I agree with that. I think she's a little bugged out myself. But I don't like that it's being showcased. And then when people call it out as being showcased, it's then translated into, well, no, you're just homophobic. You just don't like gay people. Or you don't want to be understanding, or you're not inclusive, you're not this, you're not that. But they don't realize that they are asking all of us to defy reality, to defy logic, biology, psychology. They're asking all of us to throw that out and just adhere to people in their mess. That's why I went live. I went live because I feel her entire premise behind this they them pronoun, not wanting to feel what was the first statement she made? Pretty much like she wasn't going to be bound to the confines of a binary binary genders, right? I'm not a man or a woman, and I don't know what I am right now, and this is just where I am right now. And the rest of us are supposed to be like, okay, they, them, but she just decided out of the blue, hey, I'm a she and I'm a her again. We're all confused. I'm confused because I don't know how are you? My screen's all messed up. How are you quantifying all this? What are we all supposed to do? Right? And I'm not saying that I want to help these people or I want to make them feel comfortable, but for the people that are passive and are like, well, fine, I'll call you whatever you want. How are they supposed to know when your personality switched upstairs? Like, what if someone walked up to her and said, hey, she needs this. Well, no, I feel like they, them today. No, refer to me as they. Okay, so you're multiple people. So then you're not a she, her. You're a female. You're women. See how fucking cycle that is. So then you're females. You're not just one female. You're multiple. Okay, well, are you multiple men? Are you multiple women? What's going on here? I don't think two things. No, it's not. I don't think two things cannot coexist. As far as gender thing goes, there is no such thing as being a man and a woman. That shit's Greek mythology. What's up, Caleb?
Look, I said this yesterday, but all that happened is, her pocket started hurting, and she knew that a lot of men consume her content. Let's be very direct here. Some people find her attractive, and when she went and switched over to all this non-binary stuff, she done. Yeah, I'm telling you, that's what happened. She switched into this, and men were like, I'm not co-signing this. So she had to quick time switch back to the norm, Suni, because but she couldn't do it all the way. She had to still appeal to the alphabet audience, So she said, well, it's fluid. I'm still figuring things out.
Yeah, look. I mean, I had a transgender person on my live the other day on IG. Didn't even know this person was transgender. I thought it was a woman. It is a woman. But just for story's sake, I was referring to her as she and talking to her and, speaking about issues on women, etc. And later in the live, she comes out and she's like, yeah, I'm transgender. And we were just like, I did my best to keep myself together. But in my mind, I'm like, so what? I'm like, huh? Well, I feel like a man, and I've always felt like a man. I look like a man. I sound like a man. And all of us who are on the live are just like, have you heard yourself? Do you see yourself? And I'm not being funny. This is a lady. She told me, she said, look, I respect you a great deal. Thank you for having me on, allowing other people to voice their opinions. So I'm not making fun of her.
Right.
I'm giving a real and raw reaction, and you guys got to see this in real time. It was like asking me to lie to myself, although she didn't ask me to, but for the record, this is what other people are doing. You're asking me to trick myself into seeing a man when I don't see a man. I don't hear a man, I don't see a man. But she was so, no, this is what I am. And I was just like, What do you say? What do you say to these people without being rude or causing some sort of damage to their fragile being when you don't want to acknowledge? I don't know, man. I feel like I agree with you. This is a cry. This is a publicity stunt. I need to get back into the news. I haven't been in there in a minute. My weird ass alien show where I'm discussing shit with the other side, that failed. People aren't buying into her antics. So she had to, I don't know, are you trying to appeal to the heterosexual crowd by saying I'm she and her again? Like, what's going on here? I agree, but I do understand what you're saying. She has a male audience, sure. But
large.
But they're all gay.
Listen.
What straight man is listening to her music?
Okay, look, I'm just saying. Nah. I'm telling you, like it has a lot ultimately at the end of the day to do with like you said, publicity, and I think that it's not from a marketing perspective, right? Like before she went through all this, did you see like the change in like her outfits from before versus after now? How she used to dress previously versus now?
Yeah, I don't know what look she's going for. She's got the weird ass bob, bowl cut, 1,000 rings on. She just looks weird, man. She looks off. Look, like I'm gonna show you her. She looks off. She looks like a liberal. That's the only thing I can say. She looks like a lesbian. Like she looks like a lesbian dyke is what she looks like. Like, look at this haircut. This makes no sense. I'm going to play this. I'm going to play this because you are wrong, Demi.
I want to take this moment to share something very personal with you. Over the past year and a half, I've been doing some healing and self-reflective work. And through this work, I've had the revelation that I identify as non-binary. With that said, I'll officially be changing my pronouns to they, them.
Wait. Wait, listen to what she says next.
I feel that this best represents the fluidity I feel in my gender expression.
What?
What the fuck is a gender expression?
I want to take this moment to share something.
I'm sorry. Is there going to be a study in college now called gender expression? Is that what we're doing now?
Hey, look. Hey. Gender studies, man. That's kind of the...
I want to take this time to share something very personal with you. It's not so personal, but it's personal because I'm going to share it with millions of people. What the fuck?
Like, think about this, Cindy. Like you just said, like, if this is something so personal, right? Something, I need to live my truth, right? Like, why is it that they roll out an entire production to tell everyone about this? I mean, this is personal to me, and I'm going through a lot right now. Like, listen, Siri, everybody got stuff going on.
For real, bro. People die every day, B.
And people do not jump on. People aren't out here rolling in 10, 20 cameras and showing about, this is my experience, through my transition.
Crazy. She's crazy. Like,
I just don't get it.
She's crazy. She's 5150 crazy.
How old is she?
How old is she? Or what is she? She's 5150. That's a code for crazy person.
No, I'm saying, how old is she though?
She's in her 30s. Me and her are the same age.
That's crazy.
Right. You would think that she's lived 1,000. You know what? Let me not, because this comment right here, all these Disney stars end up being so weird. allegedly, okay, according to some sources, there's a lot of pedophilia, nasty stuff that goes on behind the scenes in Cali when it comes to these Disney actors, these child actors. They usually end up crazy, killing themselves on drugs, right? So I'm not negating that. They probably fucked her up so bad that now her marbles are scrambled, and then she's just lost. I'm making fun of her. You know, I can't lie and say I'm not, because I think this is completely absurd. And I think that a lot of people who are dealing with mental illnesses, I think they have a sense of being lucid. They understand. I think we've handicapped them a bit. Now, people who are so far gone where they can't function, fine. But this bitch wakes up, she takes a shit, she wiping her own ass, she eats, she's making money, she's paying fucking bills. You know how to pick up a camera, you know how to pick up your phone and go live and talk about all these things you got going on with you. You are somewhat lucid, and this is for attention. I'm just saying, at some point, we have to start being assholes and telling these people, no, no. Why the fuck is MSN? Why are you sharing this? Why is this headline news? Look at this. Demi Lovato has a major gender update. Who gives a fuck about her gender identity? Who cares? These people are walking around crazy as shit, and we're celebrating it. She's lucid. I'm sorry. She is not that fucking crazy to where she don't know what the hell's going on.
Suni,
You wipe your butt, ma'am.
Suni, listen. And I can say this from experience. My generation, right? Because Demi's not technically a part of it, but my generation, from my experience, man, 10 times worse city.
Oh gosh, Demi Lovato. Well, since we're on the topic of hey, nuttier than squirrel shit, I like that comment, Daryl Camp. This is the time where I'm gonna open the floor. Oh, you were muted? My bad. I'm gonna open up the floor for, if you want to come on, boom, there is a link in the chat for other people to come up and explain what they think of this. I know there is someone in the crowd that understands, or you feel like you understand this mental gymnastics. I call it a fucking clusterfuck, because that's what this is. Please explain if you support or you're condemning Demi. If there are people who support, I don't really care. You know, I'm going to think you're weird, and I'll probably call you weird on the live, but don't be afraid to come up here, okay? I want to understand. Y'all, look, the other transgender woman, she was a woman, but she said she was a man. Look, the woman I had on my live the other day, she was trying to explain it to me, but she couldn't, because she said, I'm transgender and gay. And I said, but you're a guy. Well, yeah. I said, so then how are you gay if you like girls? You know what she said to me? I don't even understand it myself. What? I don't even understand myself.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
I'm just saying.
Oh my god.
Nobody else will say it. Everybody else will be like, oh, you can be what you want to be. I'm going to award you no points. Yes, may God have mercy on your soul. Because this is absolutely absurd. Absurd. It's just another way to create chaos. Sure, I can see that. But there's an agenda. Said, oh, was that out of campaign talk? No.
No, that's an old.
It's an old Billy Madison movie.
Yep. It's
It's on the loop of my
It was dang, I forgot the name of it. Yeah.
It was Billy Madison.
Oh yeah.
So, were you there when we were discussing? This was earlier in the live when James had us on, and we were discussing the 47 Republicans that decided to vote on defining marriage and how it's it can be between a man and a man now. You saw that?
Yep.
Okay. We also kind of went down a rabbit hole of possible arguments that could come up in the near future, because they're going to take a lot of these things in front of Supreme Court. And what we came to the understanding of is, it's interesting that you have people in positions of power, right, that will condemn things being taught to children in school, or condemn there being a force on society and culture to accept certain things, right? But then they'll go vote on things such something as small as this, where you're actively changing a definition in front of everyone's eyes, and people are just like, okay, if they want to get married, I don't care. But we don't look at the dark side of homosexuality. And there's a really good guy who wrote a study. His name is Steve Baldwin. You guys go look this up. It is the dark side of homosexuality. And he does a study on the correlation between pedophilia and homosexuality. And I think it's a whopping 80-something%. I think it's 82% of pedophiles who are caught are homosexuals, and they target boys. This is at a higher rate than girls are being molested. Both are wrong. But the fact that we have a group, a society of people who do identify as homosexual, are out here touching children, and then you have it being promoted on TV, it only brings a logical assumption for people to say, you are trying to come after my kid in any which way you can. You're trying to. We don't ever talk about the dark side of homosexuality. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, honestly,
it's wild.
People want to avoid it, Suni, because, contrary to what people say, they like to say, well, I believe in, the concept of, a man and woman, but they never want to take it further as far as like actually holding that definition true. When you look at just the bills and the support, I mean, 47 Republicans vote to codify a new definition, right? Those same Republicans were the same people just a second ago slamming the Biden administration for trying to change the definition on inflation, right? So like we have these have you noticed this? But like when people don't like what certain things mean traditionally, they want to find ways to change it, to twist it to fit the narrative, whether it's inflation, marriage, gender, all of that. It's like, Suni, you ever play, games when you were younger, and then someone gets upset, and then when they get upset that they're losing, they just throw all the pieces on the board off the game? Yeah, like that is exactly what you deal with today in the political climate, where, if they don't like how the game, aka life, is being played, they try and mess it up for the rest of everybody else, by changing definitions and just launching an assault on people, the minds of children.
I agree. Hold on, I'm gonna pull this up. I agree with that. Boom, send. I wanted to pull up the study that I was telling you guys about, so that you can go look at this yourself. Of course, people are gonna say, "Well, it's on a Christian website, and Christians are biased because they don't like gays." Fuck out of here. Christians are not biased. Christians understand, and I mean actual Christians. I shouldn't even say Christian because that word has been so tainted. I'm just gonna say people who adhere to biblical principles. They understand that people can be objective, right? It's not a hatred for gays. It's a hatred for sin and sexual deviancy and how certain things are being ignored. But this is the most shocking quote in this article, right? Overwhelming evidence supports the belief that homosexuality is a sexual deviancy often accompanied by disorders that have dire consequences for our culture. And this is written in his child molestation and the homosexual movement, which is published. You guys can go read it everywhere, but you can go to Stanford Law Review if you want to go look at it. I mean, Regent Law University Review if you want to go read it.
Wait, listen to this one. This is a quote from there. Homosexual leaders repeatedly argue for the freedom to engage in consensual sex with children, and blind surveys reveal a shockingly high number of homosexuals admit to sexual contact with minors. Indeed, the homosexual community is driving the worldwide campaign to lower the legal age of consent.
Isn't that what's going on in California?
Bro.
You know when this was written? Guess what year this was written?
I mean, probably like, what, in the 80s, 90s?
This was 2002. I'm sure it goes back further than that. And the studies that they actually use at the bottom here, where they quote them all, it goes all the way back to 95. So since the 90s, different people have been doing independent studies to show the correlation between homosexuality and pedophilia being increasingly high. And it's only gotten worse because you do have places like California who openly have homosexuals in office pushing their agenda. One of them is a really famous one, Scott Wiener, and there's another guy there. We're starting to see all these people pop up in positions of power in politics. Now, I'm not saying that every single one of them are pedophiles. What I am saying are the people who are advocating for said legislation to be pushed through that offers them access to children. It's not something that should be ignored. We should be talking about it. We should be constantly harping on the fact that we have an organization within the GOP's realm called the Log Cabin Republicans, pushing a lot of crazy things.
Yep.
A lot of crazy things. I don't think people read. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think people sit down and read much of anything anymore if it's not a big, bold headline and they can read maybe a paragraph or two. I'm just saying.
I think the beginning of his thing really, like, more now than ever, really speaks to. I mean, he wrote this in the early 2000s, and we're in 2022 now. And here's what he says. He says, lately, the gay movement seems to be making large gains in its war on America's Judeo-Christian culture. Gay characters have become the norm on sitcoms.
Yep.
They have. It's become fashionable to attack the Boy Scouts. Homosexual propaganda inundates many of our public schools. Again, that's happening now more than ever. And nearly all the mainstream religious denominations have revised their understanding of biblical teaching concerning homosexuality, and the gay rights, puts it in quotes, legislative agenda is succeeding beyond the advocates' wild imagination. I mean, he wrote this in the early 2000s.
Early 2000s. I'll pull it up for you guys. I'm not making this up. When I read this, my mind was blown the fuck up. I said, you know what? I'm not crazy. It's not me being intolerant. I'm not crazy. There has been and always will be a concerted effort for these people to have access to our children. We're seeing it with the teachers. Why? Just like James added on his show, we rely with him. Why are teachers quitting? Because they don't have access to children to talk about how gay they are. Like, why would a teacher quit because of that?
Yep. I mean, listen to this. Research on the homosexual lifestyle confirms it is almost exclusively a youth-oriented culture. Very few gays exhibit a preference for older men. Some admit to a focus on teenage boys, some on prepubescent boys, and many cross over between categories. All are subsets of the homosexual deviancy. Moreover, most pedophiles consider themselves to be gay. In a 1988 study published in the Archives of Sexual Behavior, 86% of pedophiles describe themselves as homosexual or bisexual. Child prostitution expert Dr. Jennifer James reports that the number of boy prostitutes who identify themselves as homosexuals have risen from 10% to 60% in the last 15 years. So this is early 2000s. They're noticing a shift upwards of 50 points, Suni, in the span of 50 years. Can you imagine what it's at now?
Imagine. Imagine.
Wow.
Guys, you can't make this shit up. This is not coming from a hateful place. It's coming from a place where more people need to be educated. We just do. What's up? Shout out to the OG Jerome Bell. I gotta hop on your podcast again, man. And you gotta come over here and give us your inside scoop on you running, because he was running. Shout out to him. You ran a good race, man. Good to see you back. I know I've been kind of chilling in the cut. I won't lie. I've been enjoying not being bound to go live here on Facebook and YouTube, and kind of just kicking it and having fun on IG. But this was a topic that I wanted to come on here and talk about, because we all have children. Not Caleb, but most of us watching, you all have kids, right? We all have kids that are functioning in this society, and our kids are going to be subjected and introduced to so much, whether we want them to or not, because of the perverted society that we live in, that you're almost going to have certain conversations with them earlier than you really want to. I think this will have a damaging effect on the youth in their generations to come, because of what a lot of adults, even older than me, my parents, grandparents, and parents right now that are actively grooming their children, and they don't feel like it's grooming. That my kid cried when I put a dress on them, so they're a boy. That's like, are you kidding me? What?
This is crazy. I mean,
it's crazy.
This was published. This was an article that an organization called BLK, a Black homosexual publication, posted out. The title of the article is "Must Men Who Love Boys Be Guilty of Sexual Misconduct?" They posted this in the San Francisco Sun-Sentinel, and they say in here, "We can be proud that the gay movement has been home to the few voices who have had the courage to say out loud that children are naturally sexual, that they deserve the right to sexual expression with whoever they choose. We must listen to our prophets. Instead of fearing being labeled pedophiles, we must proudly proclaim that sex is good, including children's sexuality. We must do it for the children's sake."
Boom. That quote is right there, just in case you don't believe what he's reading. It's right there.
What is this?
Right there.
This is crazy.
This video, honestly, guys, this video will probably get me taken down, but I don't really care. I don't. Hopefully this video will also go viral. At some point, people who call themselves conservative have to pick a side. If I could play Bryson's song right now, I would play it. Okay? At some point, you're going to have to pick a side. At some point, you're going to have to say, Richard Gunnell, don't fuck with you, my guy. You're a part of the log cabin group. At some point, a lot of you women who follow Christian Walker, you're going to have to pick a side. What I just heard on the live with James today regarding him and that whole crowd of gay conservatives is absolutely disgusting. To know that at events such as CPAC and Turning Point USA, that there are active orgies taking place where they're reaching out to the youth should be shut the fuck down on this side. But you know what? The fact that it's not should raise everyone's eyebrow. I'm going to see if he will post that so that I can get that clip of him talking about this. Why is that not headline news on this side? Why are conservatives keeping that bit quiet as if it's not going on? But you got the nerve to open your mouth to the left and get on them about grooming. This is why people don't like me. This right here. I don't placate to Republicans and Democrats. I'm not placating to nobody. Pick a side. And if you can't pick one, Let us all know so we know how to move around you. Let us know. CPAC is all good. Hey, you remember when the head of CPAC said we needed to look at Leah Thompson's story as we have to have compassion because her story will be historic in the years to come. You can go look that up. That is a direct tweet coming from him. That's why they hate, yes, that is why they hate AFPAC and Nick Fuentes, because they don't play that shit. Yeah. You can give them all the I give them flack, man. You know, Jerome, if I'm about to send you an inbox, man. People think I'm almost for certain people think that I make this stuff up when I talk about how bad it is. It's not being made up. This is just people not wanting to admit what the hell's going on this side and how it's no better than what's going on the left. Bottom line, prove me wrong. Ask all these people why they don't talk about the orgies. Ask them. You going after young boys, and you got the nerve to complain that you got the nerve to have a group called Gays Against Groomers.
Yo, look at this. A study by homosexual activists and researchers Jay and Young revealed that 73% of homosexuals surveyed had sex with boys 16 to 19 years of age or younger. Or younger. I mean, this is crazy.
Wow. It says there's a homosexual movement in New York, the Stonewall Bar. I sent it to you. It's in the inbox. There is a notorious place where older homosexuals arrange to meet young boys for sex. Yep. Mainstream homosexual conferences are commonly feature speeches about integrational sex, as it is now called. For example, at one of the largest homosexual gatherings, the annual National Gay and Lesbian Task Force Convention, a featured workshop entitled "Your Eyes Say Yes, but the Law Says No," which included a speech by an S&M activist about laws affecting intergenerational sex. Are you fucking kidding me? It also featured Drag 101, how to turn kids into makeup. How to turn kids in makeup into kings and queens.
I mean, this is disgusting. Listen to this. The Center of Disease Control, CDC, recently reported that as of the year 2000, there are now 31,293 AIDS cases in the 13 to 24 age category. The HIV/AIDS surveillance reports maintained by the CDC demonstrate that for the last few years, around half of the age group 13 to 24 HIV victims were infected with the disease as a result of sex with adult men. 13 to 24.
I can't.
13 to 24, Sunny.
Oh, there's an OG right there. Oh, this camera's messing up. Hold on. I'll wait till I see him on. Man. Listen, sources are right here at the bottom, man. No one's making this up. This is what you are supporting when you say that there is a such thing as gay and conservative. These motherfuckers feel comfortable. They're comfortable. They're not going anywhere. You know, I had an interesting conversation with a woman who said she was liberal. We can't see you. Oh, gee, if you're up here, I can't see you. Hopefully you can hear me. She said to me, you know, Republicans are doing a really bad job of making us Democrats feel welcome. You know, we are coming over here to reform the Republican Party, you know, because no one wants to hear about your religion. We don't really care how you feel about gays. How do we get this country back on track? And you know me, I'm making my faces. I'm like, are you mad? Reform what? And you have a bunch of Republicans that are just sitting there like, I think you were on that live with me, Caleb. Well, that was a live with Dave when the lady came up there freaking out and was like, Suni, you harass me all the time. And everybody was like, bro.
Yes.
Suni don't harass nobody. That lady, she's coming to reform the Republican Party. I said, wow.
I mean, yeah, this is insane. I mean, look at this. All right, so this is HIV. You know, going back to this again, this is the CDC, right? So no one can say this is a biased source. CDC is releasing this 2019 to 2020 from ages less than 13 all the way up until 24. There are over 7,000 cases of HIV amongst the age ranges of less than 13 to age 24. And this is just in 2019. 2020, that number is about 6,500. And this is, you know, during the height of, you know, this pandemic. So people weren't even like around. So that explains the decrease in numbers. But I mean, overwhelmingly, this is showing that the highest rate of infection typically exists within these younger age groups. I mean, like, and it interestingly, Suni, and you know, this is an interesting point. Looking at the racial breakdown, the leading group is Black and African Americans, followed by whites.
50% of all confirmed cases of AIDS and HIV are Blacks. It's actually it's probably more than that now, but you know that's what it was when I was doing research on it.
15,000 cases last year were Black. 12,000 cases this year. Over at 37.6%, at a rate of 37.6%. 2016 to 2017, around 41%. So, like on average, yeah, it's around half. Mm-hmm. Around half of these cases are affecting predominantly anybody below the age of 13 all the way up until 24 as a cap, who are Black African Americans.
Tells you what's going on, man. It's sick out here in these streets, and y'all are allowing it. That's what grinds my gears.
It's interesting there's no state of emergency declared for this city.
No, there's not. You know, we need to listen. I said it the other day. We need to quarantine all these gays. Okay, they need to stay in their realm of society until this is under control, right? Because listen, they're super spreaders. These people are super spreaders, and they're putting my life in danger, my child's life in danger, because I don't know if you're a pedophile or not. We can use that same argument that you guys used against us. Where's your mask? You need to let everyone know that you're gay. Since we all needed to put out our vaccination status, I need to know if you're gay, trans, or whatever the fuck you feel like, non-binary, fluid, whatever. Two-spirit, that's another thing that they added. The fuck is two-spirit? What? Here's the graphic, though. I did a show on this a couple years back where it shows the breakdown of this. Of course, this is I want to say this is 2016, so this is not far. But 1 in 20 African American men and 1 in 2 African gay and bisexual men have a risk of HIV, which is absurd. I think it's monkeypox on steroids. Just saying. What's up, OG?
Yo, what's up? How you doing? Sorry about that, man. I was been having problems with this internet, man. On my show, they be trying to take a brother down. No, that is.
That's facts. No, well, you know me. I've been on this LGBTQ thing for a long time now. And a lot of what I have been saying, and many others have come to pass. But I was really excited to find this study of this guy breaking down every single gay alliance group or gay organization in their true intentions. And I brought up the Log Cabin Republicans because nobody believes me. Nobody. No, they are the most diabolical group on this side of the political spectrum that no one's paying attention to. Nobody.
Yeah, they got a lot of juice too. Because when I was running, like I had put up there in the chat, they interview all the candidates. They want to know your positions on, the LGBTQ and everything. And like I said, needless to say, I was not their chosen candidate. Of course, they chose the candidate that voted for all the LGBTQ stuff as a state senator. She voted for all of this stuff. So I mean, but they are a big faction, like you said. Richard Grinnell is like the head of it. And it's real. And yes, they are actively recruiting GOP Republicans. This is a GOP Republican group, and GOP, the Republican, is supposed to be against of homosexuality and the LGBTQ. They're supposed to be for the nuclear family, biblical principles, Christian, and not supposed to buy into this. But yet here's a group of big, a nice faction too, and with some power a little bit, and they're right here in the GOP. So the LGBTQ, and they have infiltrated in every area of society. And they're moving definitely to the schools, and they're grooming these kids, and that's why, here in Virginia, there's, I've been part of a study and an investigation to where they're not even calling it prison to the school to prison pipeline anymore. They're calling it school to the prostitution pipeline. Wow. Because they're taking these kids and they're grooming these kids right out of school. They have these groomers, they have these transgenders, they have these gay transgenders and these people in these schools actually grooming these kids in schools. And it's real, and and it's facts, and and here in Virginia, they passed the law, the Virginia Values Act, which is SB 868, which makes it legal for them to be in the schools because they can be hired, and it's hard to fire them because they file for discrimination. If you fire them, because I'm gay, because I'm LGBTQ, because I'm transgender, whatever, so Virginia has sold out on all of this in the schools. And that's why we have the boys in the girls' bathrooms. That's why these girls are getting raped. That's why we have, these transgenders in these women's sports, and I don't even like to use the word transgenders because it's just mental illness to me. It's just a word that they, used and brought up to, describe a mentally ill woman or man, who don't know who they are. But and they're breeding and they're putting this stuff on these little kids as young as kindergarten.
It's sick, man. It's sick out here. It's real sick. What's up, Liddell? How you doing?
Suzu, how you doing? You doing all right?
I'm good. I felt compelled today to do this because I saw Demi Lovato coming out, and I'm like, you just ignited a whole nother fire. And then we had briefly talked about this in regards to the 47 Republicans who voted to codify the whole same-sex into the sanctity of marriage. And I was honestly very confused behind why I didn't see many of us influencers speaking out. That was actually really alarming to me, that I saw very few. I don't think I saw this at all, except for in a meme format. Mm-hmm. But you know how it goes. When something's going on, bro, we're all pushing out content. We're going live. We're discussing it. We're having people on. We're doing this. We're doing that. And we're always silent when it comes to the LGBTQ, especially on our side. And it drives me nuts because I don't understand why. Like, I don't understand it.
Yeah. He's right about the Log Cabin Republicans. Mm-hmm. They are very prominent organization in politics, whether you are on the Republican side. They're kind of, to be honest with you, they're kind of we're kind of beneath the table a bit. Now they kind of came out and they're really more out there. So he's right about that. I think that the LGBTQ, whatever it is called, there's something wrong when it comes to a trans person here, because it didn't make any biological sense. This is not me trying to bash on one at all. I'm going by just strictly science. It's just strange how we will pick science. We'll cling on to science when it benefits us, but when it destroys the argument, now we want to put it to the side. Oh no, we're going to stay on this science thing. And so that's the one thing that I want to rehark on. But to be honest with you, the reason why the log cabin Republicans and organizations like that has actually gotten more prominent is because we, the body of Christ, have not been on duty at all. So I'm not surprised at all that this actually has happened, because if the salt and the light is not involved in the discussion, you best believe that's what's going to happen. So I'm not surprised, because they approached me when I was running. They approached me. I know who they were, but they were like, "How you doing?" I'm long cap program. All right, no problem. It was about maybe a 5-second conversation, and then that was it. And after that, I never heard from them again, because they understood exactly where I stood at. It was very clear what I was standing at. Very clear. That's one of the reasons why they went after me a little bit.
Sorry, I'm muted. The log cabin group won't talk to me. I had a chance to talk to Hayden Pageant, and this was a guy running out of Texas.
He was
and
one of my opponents.
I reached out to him. I'm like, "Hey, man, I want to sit down and talk with him." He's like, "Yeah, no problem. We'll set it up. Set up the day." I was doing my research, getting my stuff together, and he never showed. So I said, "You know what? You not showing for something as small as this shows me that you're not serious. Because if you were, you would have came and you would have sat down and answered some of the questions I had." I told him, "I'm going to ask you about your BLM video. I'm going to ask you about your support for the log cabin groups. I'm going to ask you about your Young Texas Republican website, where you can go and look at every single bill they support. Why are you supporting gender identity studies? Why are you supporting gender identity, the hormones, the treatments?"
Mm-hmm.
And he blocked me on everything imaginable.
Mm-hmm.
I have no way of contacting this guy. After that, I was like, "You know what? I am watching this group." And I haven't let up since. And I have never run into a place where I am like, we're missing context here. It's clear what this organization is trying to do. But what's not clear is why Republicans, GOP, conservatives, the kingdom, why no one's speaking on it. I'm sorry.
I can tell you why.
Go for it. I really want to understand.
It's about money. Remember, politics is about money and power.
Absolutely.
That's all it's about. There's a reason why in the scriptures it says there's two masters, God and money. And money only became a master when God said it was a master. Why? It's because of the fact that the love of money, not money, the love of money is the root of all evil. Right. And so whenever you dangle out that type of cachet out there, and to be honest with you, the LGBTQ plus movement, they have a ton of money. Mm-hmm. A ton of money. You'd be surprised at how many people will contradict their character for the almighty dollar. I saw it with my own eyes. I'm like, wow, this is people like this, guys. I ran as a Republican. I will go to these Republican places and enjoyed my time there. It was phenomenal, great. We would actually pray before meetings began. In Jesus' name, amen. And all of a sudden, I saw Jesus get put to the side. And I said, wait a minute. This ain't the kingdom at all. And so for me, that's when I began to say, wait a minute. This is a mission field for the kingdom. And if we don't get on duty, guys, it's going to get a lot worse, because they're out with it. They're open with it. Okay. They're open with it. I mean, you had parents going up in Texas schools, reading what's in the library of elementary schools. And I'm like, this is it's straight porn.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely right. Same thing here in Virginia Beach, man. I've been, part of these school board meetings, and we've been attacking these books and trying to get these books, removed from, schools in my district, Chesapeake Public Schools, Virginia Beach Public Schools, and it's porn. And it's so bad. Here's how you know it's bad, right? The news won't even show the pictures on the news. The news won't even speak the language. Even at the school boards tell these parents to stop reading from these books because it's so vulgar. But they allow these kids to have these books, and they allow these kids to, submit themselves to this pornographic material. You can, and it is porn. It's straight porn. I mean, they have pictures of boys giving head in these books. I mean, everything. It is ridiculous. And like my brother said down here, it's all about the money. See, I ran against that, and that's probably why they spent $5 million to beat me, because they know that I wasn't going to go to Congress and sign the Equality Act, which is up there ready to be signed, because the Virginia Values Act was the beta test for the Equality Act, and Virginians fell for it. So they knew I wasn't going to do that. I was out against that, and they will spend money to beat you. They have a lot of money, and to be less than 1% of the population, and to have people capitulate to this group that's less than 1% of the population, really speaks volumes on, like you said, on the people that's not speaking up, because these people really, it's all about power, and they want to get elected. It's not about running on Jesus. It's not about running on God. It's not about running on true conservative principles. It's about just trying to get into office and and get that payday. That's really what they're talking about.
I'm glad that you said that, because one of the most shocking things that I saw come from this group was them attacking Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson.
Absolutely.
And I looked at what he was talking about. I love this guy. I loved him. I wanted to meet him when I came to North Carolina, but I was listening to his speech that he made at the church, and I said, this sounds like every conservative that I've ever heard speak. He said these books are trash. This is garbage. They don't need to be in a school. And they came out and openly condemned him. But what they said was, what was crazy is they didn't say the Republican GOP. They referenced the GOP as Trump's GOP. So that's when I started to look at Trump a little more. What do you have going on with this group? And that's when I found out he formed the Rainbow Coalition. They are not hiding in plain sight anymore. They're openly declaring what they're doing.
Of course they are. Remember, it's chess, not checkers. So the question is, if you don't have to hide, why hide? If your opponent or the other side is not willing to really go against you, why hide for? It's smooth selling for you.
It's crazy.
It's sad, and it's just, I'm telling everybody, how do you begin to change the not so much the narrative, is to how do you begin to wound their pockets? Take your kids out of the school.
Yeah.
Take them out, because in Texas, $9,000 a child is earmarked from people. $9,000 a child in Texas. That's a lot of kids. From Texas, a lot of kids, and so you begin to look at the pocketbook. Remember, the love of money is root of all evil. They're showing you what they love. They're showing what master that they're serving. So how do you begin to counter that master? No problem. You begin to attack their master by removing the master from them. Money.
Yeah,
it's simple. It's chess, not checkers.
I just wanted to show you guys. Hey, look at this. They claim to be against all the leftist evil crap, and then they use the same flag. I have to get off this website, because every time I get on it, I get fucking triggered. I get so triggered reading all the stuff they're doing and looking at who they have as allies in Congress. They just added another U.S. Senator, Bob Portman. They have Susan Collins. Like, bro, what are y'all doing? They got Dan Crenshaw. They used to have Lauren Boebert up here. She got removed. For some reason, you got Representative Burgess Owens. All these people are aligned with this group.
They're getting that bag. They're getting the bag. That's it.
I ain't never been that desperate for some money, man. And I've been broke. I've been broke. There's no way I'm selling out for something like this. What's up, baby MAGA?
What is up?
I saw you in the
Mago,
YouTube.
what's up,
Like, you know what?
baby?
Come up here. It's like you're a part of the youth.
Listen.
I want to hear what you think about all this.
So I'm in the hotel room right now with Reed Cooper. God bless DJT. I don't know if anyone knows who that is. And I'm at CPAC.
Yeah.
Hold
and
on. You in Dallas?
I'm in Dallas, baby. I'm in Dallas.
I'm gonna come see you tomorrow, baby. You in my town, pimp.
Come on this way then.
I'll let you play.
I'm in Dallas and we're checking in and we're eating. We walk over and we're eating and I'm sitting at the table and I'm watching the live with you and James. And I'm like, hey James, are you coming to CPAC? Mm-hmm. He's like, no, I'm not making it. I continue watching the lives and he starts talking about these gay orgies at CPAC. Mm-hmm. I'm like, wait a second. This is supposed to be a conservative movement. So I call my mother because me and her had just had this conversation Sunday where she was talking about how going to college is retarded. She used the word retarded and she used the word retarded and my gay cousin turns around and looks at us and is like, oh my gosh, don't say that word. Why can't you say the word retarded? It's offensive. It's a slur. She didn't call anyone retarded. And this is the same person who tried to justify us while using the pronouns they, them isn't grammatically correct. When you were showing the thing, because I popped in earlier when you were talking about Demi Lovato, when Demi Lovato says they, and I was like, they is plural.
Yeah.
They is multiple. Mm-hmm. So I find it funny how everything we're taught, it somehow magically is now changing to fit this agenda, right?
I mean, if I was gender study major is going to graduate,
right? If I go and put on the grammar test, they them, they're going to fail me. I'm not passing that. But I can put you can call a single person they them. That doesn't even make sense. So now I'm walking around here at CPAC, and now tomorrow when I walk around, I'm on like 10 because I'm trying to monkeypox is real, people. I don't know what y'all been doing. I need y'all to get back. Wear your mask or something. Because we're not doing this this time.
Hey,
COVID, I was telling y'all, I'm not going to listen to nothing the government got to say to COVID. But this monkeypox,
hey man,
I just might have to give me a vaccine.
In 2015, they sent someone undercover at CPAC, and they downloaded the Grindr app, and they paired with I think over 10 or 20 delegates.
I have a friend. His name is Aaron, and he posted on his story a week before. He was like, a lot of these conservatives you're following are real down low because my Grindr shouldn't have this many matches at CPAC.
Wow.
And I slid up and I was like, you are funny. He was like, no, I'm serious.
See?
I told you.
Already.
I told you, Sunni. I told you. CPAC is mega gay, man. And that's why I'd be at AFPAC. I'd be at AFPAC with Nick Fuentes and, in the Groypers, man. I don't be hanging out at CPAC too much. I go through CPAC to do them TV interviews, man. But hanging out, man, and watching them speak and all that, because it's the same speakers every time. Yeah. Because, that's just the group. That's the clique,
I ain't gonna lie to you. CPAC boring.
Yeah, it's boring as hell, boring. Ain't it? Right? It's boring as hell. Like I say, man. I go do my TV interviews and.
Did we lose him?
No, he froze.
We lost. But CPAC was boring. I went there on one of the days. I think on the day that Trump spoke, it was heavily guarded by Secret Service. And the lady that she let me in, she was very gracious. Actually, Ron J. Spikes got me in, and what tripped me out is it was just really boring. Now, of course, I talked with Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, and of course, you saw the Trumps there, and spoke with Sarah Carter was there as well. Her and I had a great conversation. Mm-hmm. I interviewed with her, but that was about it. It was boring as hell.
Well, we just got this. This is my first time actually doing all these events, right? I just got done with SAS, right? I was at Turning Point USA SAS. That's when I met James and all them. And I mean, walking around there, you could still see that the movement is not what they say it is, right? For people to think that Republicans are real homophobic, it's time that we start living up to the name, right? They label us as all these things, but then when you join and you actually look, it's none of it is there. None of it is there.
It's not.
Because they play the game. They want to get elected. They try to be moral. I was talking to the one guy downstairs, and he was explaining how everything is going to come down to that middle ground people. You have people who are far left who are pushing the pronoun, da 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 da. Then you have people who are far right who are against it. Then you have these people in the middle who come on both sides and said, "Hey, I'm how you're going to get these votes. I'm going to save your party. I'm going to be that moderate. I'm going to be that middle ground." No, you're not going to save my party because I'm trying to ground my party. I'm trying to infiltrate my party with the values and the morals that I hold personally. Because when I do that, that's what makes this my party. Bryce and Gray always, it's time, we keep having these umbrellas. It's time out for an umbrella, right? We want to make sure that everyone's safe, everyone's protected, everyone's accepted. That's just not how the real world works. You can't always have everyone being accepted, everyone being welcomed. And so when I look, I'm like, what are you conserving? What are you conserving? You know, I had one person try to tell me you can't be a Christian conservative. And I looked at him and I said, you know what? You just might be right, because when I look at the conservative movement, I don't see a lot of Christian morals in it.
I don't either. I don't either. And then you got people that will say, I'm Christian, and I'm like, where? You have people that will say that I'm not conservative. I'm like, clearly you don't watch me. You're not privy to anything that I do, because I don't agree with a large portion of what conservatives support. I think it's disgusting. I really do.
What is considered a conservative now? Because even I look at Trump. Trump was not conservative.
Oh, he's not.
Trump is not conservative. And whenever you, oh, you're a rhino. How am I a rhino? Trump literally went on an interview and said, if I ever ran for president, I'd run as a Republican because they believe anything you tell them. He said that on his own mouth. Turned around and did it.
I've been looking for that clip, because I swear to Bob, I heard that as well, but I can't find it. That clip is nowhere to be. It's nowhere to be found.
Because Trump was a Democrat for a while until Obama's second term. Even in Obama's first term, Trump wasn't trying to talk Republican talk. Trump went on Twitter and just started tweeting out ideas, and whoever got the most likes and repost, that's what he ran with on his campaign. I can't remember the documentary came out on Netflix that was talking about it. So, I mean, you look at this stuff, I'm like, man, when do we start, crossing lines and saying this is what we hold? This is what we hold true, which is why I'm interested in hearing what these speakers at CPAC have to say, especially in some of these breakout sessions called defining conservatism, things like that. I'm sincerely going to actually sit down in these things.
To go to one of these events. There's a reason I don't get an invite. Or people look. One of my friends is going, and she said, "I'm gonna be at CPAC," and I'm like, "Oh yeah." She said, "Yeah." I'm like, I said, "I give you some questions." She said, "No, Suni, you're not getting me kicked out." I was like, "Am I that bad?"
Suni, DM me. Because I'm telling. This is what I was walking around today asking these people some questions about some stuff.
Baby Mac, are you there as media or just yourself?
As just myself, but my congressman is speaking, and one of the media groups I know is going to get me back there.
Oh, okay. So what I'll do is I got a pretty busy day tomorrow. When are you going? You going to be there for the entire weekend as well?
The entire thing. I got to talk to Reed. It ends Sunday.
Sunday. Okay.
But I got to talk to Reed to see when his flight leaves, because I'm supposed to be leaving with him.
Yeah, let me know, DM, and let me know. Because is it at the Anatole again?
Yes, it's at the Hilton Anatole. I'm not staying at the Hilton Anatole. I'm staying at the other Hilton that's across the street from it.
Oh, I know you're at.
Yeah, so
Yeah, you're right near
it's
downtown. I know exactly where you're at.
it's a
Yeah,
quick walk.
Baby
yeah,
American, you can't be letting people know your moves like that.
I put it out there. I have put it out there. I'm probably gonna move anyway. But it's the hotel is nice. Like where the CPAC is, the hotel is nice.
Oh yeah,
Everything
they're
like
tall.
the people that I met today, uh, they were nice, but you could feel the tension in the air. You can because these are hotel guests that are just randomly walking around. And Reed had gave me this shirt that has the two Trump faces on it, but at the bottom it says "sexiest man alive."
Oh my god.
Oh gosh.
Oh wow.
So
That's crazy.
so yeah. So
That's
me and him
crazy
are
town.
walking. Me and him are walking around with these matching shirts on that say "sexiest man alive,"
Oh
and we're
gosh.
walking through the hotel.
Oh my
And
god.
you could just see that mix of reaction. Like this is the last time I'm wearing a shirt with Trump's face on it. I
Praise the Lord. Hallelujah.
He brought like 3 of them for me, and I'm like, he bought like 3 of them. But I don't know if I can turn the camera, but if I turn this way, I brought like 4 suits for myself, so I'm not wearing another one. But these people are crazy here.
Oh man, oh yeah, man.
Like I'm walking around, I'm talking about what we talk about liberals for having the rainbow hair. They're walking around here with the rainbow hair, talking to me, making fun of the liberals for having the same hair you have on right now.
Oh yeah.
Wait a minute, conservatives? What the
Conservatives.
Conservatives
walking around with
at CPAC, they
at CPAC, they act a fool.
See, look, I'll be back in 2024. The closest CPAC to me, I will be there. Whatever is the closest one, I will be there.
I'll probably be out there either probably Friday or Saturday, because tomorrow I'm going to be meeting with the chairman of Texas Republican Party, Matt Rinaldi. I got invited out to that whole function, so I'm gonna go sit down and talk with him. I've sit down and talked with Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. He's tall. He's about 6'9", 6'10". That's a big dude, man. He's huge. Cool guy. I got invited to one of his fundraisers when I was running for public office. He and I spoke about 20 minutes one-on-one. He gave me 20 minutes of his time. Didn't rush me at all, period, nothing. And so he's the one that kind of let me know what's going on with school choice. He was the one that kind of let me know what's going on.
Yeah, you gotta, because these people here are
out there.
Like you think, like when you watch CNN and you see those clips of people talking about like Obama was in the White House during 9/11, you pray that that's fake. Like there's no way nobody actually believes that. The people that I saw today just made that realistic.
If you want that clean cut Republican, you go to the state conventions. The clean cut there, dressed nice.
Because it was this elderly lady. It was 2 of them.
It says
one of them had on these leggings that were American flag leggings. She had on the American flag colored hair, and then her friend, and then they had these like blinged out American flag purses.
Yep.
With like a blinged out American flag tops, walking around here looking like the real American flag. Yep. And I'm looking. And she walks up to us, and I walked away. I had to go get something. I can't remember what I was going to get. And then I come back, and they are like having full-blown conversation with Reed. And Reed is the kind of guy that he entertains them. He finds this stuff funny. And I'm like, this isn't funny. Like, this woman has no clue what she's talking about.
That's correct.
She's out of her mind, and she's sitting here, and she's still claiming Biden isn't the real president. And then she gets mad at Nancy Pelosi to going to Taiwan. And I look at her and I say, wait a second. If Trump was in office and Nancy Pelosi would have went to Taiwan, you would have praised her. But because Biden is in office and you see the tensions, you're being hypocritical now. Right.
That's a lot of conservatives. Bro.
My only issue with her going to Taiwan is you blatantly went against your president.
What the president said.
Your
Yes.
president said, "Don't do this." She said, "I'm gonna do this." So my whole thing is, what is the goal for going there? I still don't know what the goal is. I don't know what the goal is. I'm like, why'd you go again?
The goal is what it's always been, which is to at every moment that they can attempt to stoke a fire, overseas. And what we're seeing here, right? She went, I think, to like one of the museums and met with like the foreign ambassador or whatever over there. Like, there was no legitimate official business that she needed. Honestly,
not at all.
She would have been better off. She would have just been better off going there and acting like, "Hey, look, I'm here for me," because she didn't do anything on behalf of the American people.
It's nothing.
But they're not. It's all for that photo shoot.
Right.
It's all for that photo shoot.
It's grandstanding. That's all they're doing. It's grandstanding. It's political theater. It's, China said don't go there. They're going to shoot it out and America's going to go. And China didn't do anything. Bro, China was never going to shoot nothing out the sky. China's not sending no missiles over here, and neither is North Korea. There's all vested interest in all these countries. Stop the cap.
The annoying thing is this, though, because it's like, once China made the stance that they did, right? The foreign, their, whatever his name is, the minister over there.
Jinping.
No. They had some other guy. He says he was like, those who play with fire will perish by it. They like as soon as he said stuff like that, think about it though. Now that China is saying, "Hey, don't go over there, or you're going to stoke the flames with tense relations with us." If they don't go, then it's China is able to push their will onto that of U.S. lawmakers and politicians overall. So at that point, and I think Nancy Pelosi did it intentionally. She knew that China would react that way. So there would be no choice but for her to go over there. Because if she doesn't go over there, it makes America look weak. The president continues to look even weaker. And,
we look really bad.
It's just, now China has moved a bunch of their ships into the Taiwan Strait. So, this will be very interesting.
We look really bad. I don't think that China's going to do anything at all. Period. But what they're going to do is they're going to use this as a way to ramp up their military actions.
For sure.
That's all they're going to do. And so, and kind of what happened is the president wanted to go, but I believe that Nancy Pelosi leaked it to the papers, and the paper said, "Well, she's going," and I'm like,
"Hey, look."
And I'm like, what the hell? And so now you have the president saying, and his team saying, this is not good. And I'm like, I gotta say it. This is the worst ran administration I have ever seen. And I've been trying to let them make it so bad. And I'm like, I don't. I mean, I can go off the recession definition. Hello, Afghanistan withdrawal. Come on. Negotiations with China. Come on. It's like every time I turn around, this president is capitulating to China all the time.
Hey, Liddell, it's not 2 negative GDP quarters anymore. Now it's how farms are doing.
Oh gosh, if I hear the word GDP. After I heard it come from Mitch's mouth so many times today.
That is the worst way to determine the health viability of any company or any country at all, period. Because there's so many pulled out facts out of that thing that they exclude out. It's the most massaged thing ever. I'm like, this is, and so but like Mitch told me initially in 2021, I said, inflation's coming, Mitch. We got big enough GDP. And I'm like, Mitch, this ain't making no sense what you're saying because of the fact that inflation's definition is there's too much currency for only too few goods. Now that talk about you fear mongering, and all of a sudden I'm like, we at 9.1, okay?
It's 9.3 now.
I thought we had a big enough GDP to sustain this. What's going on with that one? It don't make no sense. So let me get this straight. We have record high prices, and they're bragging about it coming down 80 cents. The hell out of
Isn't it ironic the Inflation Reduction Plan increases inflation?
So they should rename that the Inflation Production Plan because they're producing inflation.
The reduction plan increases inflation. They said that they wouldn't tax anyone more who is making less than $400,000 a year. That was a lie. They're taxing the middle class. And the low
But
class.
you know what's funny is this number 400. Whenever they're talking about taxes, that number 400,000 is like one of their favorite numbers to use, and I find it very odd
all the
that
time.
Joe Biden makes 400,000.
400,000.
Hey, look.
That's why when it comes to finances, it's very easy to defeat whether you are liberal or conservative. Talk about all this junk because I'm a principles person. I'm a definitions guy. And think about this. We're going to, when you hear the word making from the government, we're going to make investments. We're going to have subsidies. What that means is we're going to infuse more money into the economy via debt. So when I hear that, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. So you're printing money out of thin air. Where is it going to go? Where's it going to go? You can't answer that question. Well, it's not going to increase in taxes. No more, you're lying because that defies mathematical logic. Number two, there's going to be a second tax, inflation. Do
you know what the crazy part here? And I was talking with someone about this, but this is the scariest thing for me. Looking at, and I'm gonna pull it back up. Looking at the tax plan that they're having for companies. Hear the logic here, Liddell, right? If you're an LLC, cool. If you choose to incorporate as a C corporation, you are automatically lumped in with the Googles and Amazons of the world. Think about that. What I mean by that is they're adding, so they add an additional 15% tax on top of the 25% corporate tax is what they said. So you got 25 plus 15, and then the additional payroll tax as well of 7.65%. In total, they're taxing corporations, C corporations specifically, a rate of 47.65% as a flat tax. So if you make $20,000 this year as a business,
guys, okay, this is the biggest con on the planet. They really think that you're stupid.
Yeah.
Let me tell you how, okay? Google ain't paying no taxes. Can I tell you how? Now there's Apple. Can I tell you how? Mm-hmm. It's because, yes, Apple's making a lot of money. That's why it's called income tax.
Yes.
Capital gains tax. Again, definitions.
Yep.
Watch what happens. Apple has about $90 billion in the bank, right? They want to go and develop a new technology. Notice how they always develop technology all the time. There's a reason why. Notice that they're actually buying more buildings. There's a reason why. Now, what are they going to do when it comes to developing technology, paying for R&D, research and development, and or buying the buildings? What do they get? Something called debt. Debt can't be taxed as it's an expense. Now, what are they paying in the rate? Probably up a half a point or 1%. A lot lower than what everybody else is paying. Why? Because they have $90 billion in the bank. They ain't paying no damn tax.
I don't know what part of this people don't understand, though, Adele. Like,
Stupid thing in my life. So when I hear Miston talking about corporations gotta pay their fair share, I'm like, you talking about small businesses, don't you? Like, you're talking about the middle class business, don't you? The doctors and attorneys. What the fuck?
Hey, Liddell, literally, this is the exact conversation I've been having with people. I said, listen, if you think that Amazon is stupid enough that they're going to let the government swindle them into paying this ridiculous, almost 50% tax on corporations, you're out of your mind.
I'm looking at the clock. I saw Vincent put this, the USDebtClock.org. I'm looking at the income tax revenue alone in this country. What do you think it is?
A lot lower than what we actually what we actually owe, and I guarantee you we're barely paying interest, barely.
It's 2.5 trillion.
Now watch this. Our GDP is about 3.5 trillion, or 3 trillion. I'm sorry, 3 trillion. So how much is the interest that we're paying? What did you say? I'll pull it up. I'll pull it up. Don't you worry. I'm the right one for this discussion.
Even tariff,
federal interest
corporate
rate.
Tax revenue, dude, they're making bank.
I think we're at 2.4. No, 2.75%. I think is what we're at.
This is the biggest. Look at this, guys. This is the biggest. So we owe $4.4 trillion. Now watch this. Guess who owns majority of that debt? The Federal Reserve, because China and Japan ain't buying no more of our debt no more. Because it's worthless now. So now the Federal Reserve has a bigger balance sheet. So what are they doing now? They're trying to create more security so they can borrow against it. It's that's why we'll never get paid any reparations. Get that out of your mind. That will never happen. They've been studying since 1989. It's 2022. Why haven't nothing happened? We always going into commission to study. What is this? They'll never pay it. It's a con. It's a con. They get nothing in return for that type of investment. It's a con. Let's keep it a band, y'all. Come on. Let's stop playing this game.
This is what I keep saying. I say this all the time. Working.
You know what? You know what? This is a lie. You know why this is a lie? The U.S. national debt is because, y'all. Let me ask y'all a question. The TARP bill that was passed at the end of President George Bush's term and it began about Biden. Really, Bush passed it, and then of course Obama began to implement it. Guess how much they said they actually printed out?
I don't even know.
I think it was about what
31 billion.
Oh, no, not 31 billion. Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Billion?
Yeah, 31 billion. Guess how much it really was, guys?
More or less.
A lot more.
Ooh.
They initially authorized 700 billion.
That was not what they did. That was a lie. Now, how do we know that? Well, what happened was within that deal, you can file a FOIA. Well, what happened was when they filed the FOIA, what actually happened is the government came back and said, we need 10 years to let you know how we spent the money.
That's ridiculous.
Hold on. And so they had to wait until 2021 to get the facts. All right. When they got it back, guess how much they spent? $31 trillion. That's with a T.
Damn.
Now watch this. And the majority of that money went out. It was not spent. It's spent in the U.S. It went to other countries. The hell out of here. This is a lie. This is a lie.
What are you spending?
What's funny is most people aren't going to track that for 10 years to figure any of that out. No one's going to want to do that.
What are they spending? Hey, look, what are you spending?
They spending on themselves. They lining their fucking pockets. That's what they doing.
Because that's the only explanation. Because you ain't buying stuff. You ain't
all
buying
this money
stuff.
floating around. We got all this money to pay for someone else's gender studies, to pay for other countries' wars, their guns, their weapons, artillery. Come on, man.
I don't think Madison Cawthorn was lying on those House
I don't
Republicans
think
in
he
air
was either.
quotes
I think
when he
that
was talking about those cocaine gay orgies. I'd love
Oh,
to
no,
I
be
he
a
don't think
fly
he
on the
was
wall
lying.
for these
He was
things
telling the truth, but he wasn't telling
because
the truth about his ass being a part of them gay orgies.
no,
That's what
we
he
know
wasn't
he
telling
we
the
know
truth
he
about.
we know he was there. We know he was there. But
I'm not
He
really
just got
I'd like to
surprised.
upset. He got in
I'd
his
like to
feelings,
see
and then he
what's
went and
What you
snitched on
saying, Bill?
everyone.
Guys, I'm not surprised. I can't talk about some stuff that I know concerning that subject.
Hey, listen.
I'm not surprised.
This is
Offline, we'll talk about it, but I can't.
Hey, we're
offline.
sending,
You know what, Liddell? I'm gonna call you after this because I have to ask you a question. I have to ask you a question.
Hey, I just think it's interesting that we're sending $15 million to Pakistan to fund democracy programs.
Hey, do you know that there's more money going to Ukraine? Did you guys
Oh
see
yeah,
that?
yeah, I saw that.
700 billion, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah, it's
wait, let's pause. 700 billion after they bitched and moaned about the 367 billion they were supposedly no. I think it was about 600 billion that they were fighting over the veterans, right?
no
Well,
700 million.
Okay, 700 million.
I'd like someone to go in and just total up how much money we've sent you to Ukraine, beginning to end of all of this. Just beginning
Right now,
to end.
It's up
Yeah.
Right now, it is up to 51 billion so far.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So far.
51.
Oh,
like, I mean,
No,
it's
we're at 50.
And I
we're
tell
at
people,
$54 billion.
you send Ukraine all
Oh,
this
it's 54?
money.
Yeah,
Wow.
$54 billion.
What do we? And we get nothing out of it.
Nothing. We get absolutely nothing.
Like nothing.
Hey, look.
And I actually had a friend we've been friends for about 3 years. He blocked me. He blocked me 2 days ago. I got blocked because I said if I were the president, I'd stop sending money to Israel. I'd stop sending money to Ukraine. I'd go to NATO. I'd pull the American money out of NATO and tell them to start paying their fair share. He's like, that's because you're an a-hole. You only care about yourself, yada, yada, yada. And then he blocks me. I'm like, really? Really?
Hey,
we aren't getting anything out of it.
No, we're not.
I just think, personally, that it's interesting that we sent in a COVID-19 bill, right? A COVID-19 bill. We sent $73 million for an Iron Dome defense system to Israel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Israel, the country which commits atrocities against.
Say it. Don't mince your words.
Hey, look, these people commit countless atrocities against the Palestinian people day in and day out. We send millions and millions of dollars to them. No one is curbing this. No one is stopping this spending because it's like we need to support Israel. They're being attacked.
No, they're not,
bro. Israel, listen.
It's no different than Ukraine and Russia. That's what it is.
It's funny because under the same breath, you campaign on cutting government spending.
Hey, listen, people don't like to hear this truth, but Israel, the Jews, are torturing Palestinians. Excuse me. They are torturing. They are torturing Palestinians day in and day out. And what does the U.S. do? Instead of condemning it, like we condemn Russia and condemn all these other places about the stuff that they're doing, we send them millions of dollars as a reward.
Yeah.
As a reward.
Here, put this into your Iron Dome that no one can get across. Go ahead.
Like,
we'll bleed out some more money that we don't have.
Oh, like, why are we? Listen, we have no vested interest in a. I'm just going to be honest. We have no vested interest, nor should we care about a strong Israel. Why do we have to be responsible for that country's security?
Right.
People ask, why is the defense budget so high? These warmongers, they're spending so much money. Do you know what they're spending the money on? They're sending it off to Israel to go
Right.
and fund their defense system.
We can give Israel this Iron Dome missile technology, and we can't even build an iron wall at our own border.
Hey, look, we care
It's
more.
ridiculous.
We care more about people in Israel than we care about Americans at home.
Right.
We care more about
Right.
people in Israel than we care about our veterans.
I agree.
Yes.
1,000%.
About to Susu, I'm about to DM you.
Okay.
I actually heard this from I got to give it to Glenn Beck. Glenn Beck, damn, Bajina been killing
That's
it.
my guy. I love Glenn Beck, man.
He's been
I love
killing it.
Glenn Beck.
I'm finna DM you right now. Okay, yes, I will. I'm finna DM you right now. I want you to play this, and I'm gonna let you know where to start it. He's talking about the $700 billion TARP bailout and how they actually filed it for you. I want you to play it. He's gonna let you know how much it is. Hold on, let me get it over to you right now. Where'd it go? Yep, here we go. Play. I'll let you know where to start too. You gotta listen.
You're talking about that hidden money video he did a while back, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yo, he did one on the oligarchy. Fired. All right, here it is.
Hold on.
Hey, Sunni, isn't it
So-
interesting?
So you can actually begin at like 456, and just listen to what he's saying. He lets you know about the 10-year time frame waiting, and I just said, "What the hell?" And he lets you know exactly how much money that TARP really was, and where the money was sent, not based on his opinion, on the FOIA request that they got back. It's gonna shut the crap out of you.
Let me pull it up. I'm waiting for the ad to go away.
And what I'll do is I'll be right back, guys.
Okay.
All right, cool.
I'll be right back.
I just think that it's ironic that we have trillions of dollars, excuse me, we have billions of dollars to send overseas, but veterans had to fight to get coverage for the toxic the what is it, the toxic tar pits.
Yeah, the fire pits that they were.
Yeah,
it just goes to show that a lot of people's idea of what politics is actually not what it is. And I don't think most people get to see what we see, or especially me and Baby Manga. I don't really see you at events. But
events aren't my thing, honestly.
I haven't been to events, but I have been in talks with a lot of people. I've spoken to a lot of representatives, U.S. representatives, people running for Congress, all that. Is this conservative movement in politics in general is a sick and twisted game.
Oh my, yes. It's funny. My county, it's so corrupt in this area. Oh my gosh. But they censured the county judge for not going against the mask mandates and then ran against him. They lost. He then called his friend who put his son up, who I will think is 100% a down low gay, who's always in Mexico and California, and he is now our party chair. He can't even tell you the 5 cornerstones of the Republican Party, and he's running our Republican Party. And I'm sitting back, and I'm like, okay, you came in here, you set up the website, you're great for that. You're not chairman material. You're the guy in the background holding the camera material. That's what you are. When I come to these events now, because now I'm trying to get into these events, I'm talking to these people, and I'm like, y'all are dumb.
Hey, Baby Mega, we got to meet up at an event one of these days.
Because now I'm actually moving around. At first, I wasn't moving around. Now I'm actually moving around. So you let me know.
I'm just not going to CPAC. That's it. But
I got to pull up at CPAC one time, and make my presence known. And I'm looking for you, Christian Walker. I want to
When's
talk
the
to
next event?
Bro, Christian Walker, I was trying to find him at SAS because everyone saw him except me. He was there. And the one time I saw him, I wanted to talk. I wanted to go up to speak to him, but he did this weird run where his hands went back like this, and he did this, and it scared me, so I backed away, and I didn't talk to him. And I was like, what the fuck? What was that?
Listen.
What did he just do? So I didn't talk to him for the rest of. So he did this, and he was, and I got scared, so I didn't talk to him. And like I saw him the next day when Trump was speaking, but he was like all the way in front of me in the line. So I never got to talk to him, but I wanted to talk to him because it's like Christian Walker. But I didn't get to see him at all. And every time I would see him, he would do something weird that would just make me not want to go over there. Just be like, you know what? It's not even worth it.
Listen, I tried to get out to Saz at the last minute. Like I went and bought my ticket and everything. But yo, flights to Tampa last minute from Atlanta. I was like, listen,
I didn't fly into Orlando. I mean, into Tampa. I flew into Orlando and drove to Tampa. It's only an hour drive. Drove to Tampa. And then from Tampa, we drove back to Orlando and we went to like Universal Studios and all that. And then flew out. It's so much easier. And it's only like an hour. It's only like an hour drive. It's not bad.
Listen, I'm moving to Austin on the 15th.
Don't do that.
Listen, hey, it's happening.
When I tell you, Austin is its own country, little world. It's its own country, little world. Like,
hey, I just need. Hey, let me know what are some of the what are some events that are coming up?
There are none. Honestly, these are the only major ones. This is why me and Bryson are like, hey, we need to put together events. We need to do something because CPAC and Turning Point USA, they appeal to a certain type, but they don't appeal to real motherfuckers. I'm sorry. Yes, I love Jesus. I curse. All right, the Lord is working on that with me, but I'm not homo friendly, and I'm not going to sit and pretend like I am, and I don't like being around groups that do. I'm just not. Sorry. If you don't want to hear that you're an abomination, then you should never come to a Sunni event because you're probably going to hear it more than once.
There's this one kid that's in our.
Oh, he froze again.
I just wanna come to an event at least once just to see a few folks because I be talking to everybody on live and.
There's this one guy that's in our CPAC group with us today, and he's gay, but I'm not supposed to know. Like no one knows. Like he's down with us. So I'm not gonna say his name. Like he hasn't came out or none of that because he knows the backlash. Probably. He ran for an election and everything. I can't say his name. I'm gonna respect that. I'm not gonna say his name.
You can put it in a private chat though.
Y'all might not know him. Well,
I bet
because you live in Georgia. What's his name lives in Georgia, so he might know him.
Bro, what?
Hey, shh. And
stop it.
His ex-boyfriend is at the event. He's at
CPAC.
Works for
CPAC.
CPAC.
Hold on.
We were walking so much because he wanted to stay away from him. And
You're lying,
I'm not
right?
supposed to. I wish I could. And the only reason I know that is because the guy that is sleeping in the bed next to my bed is like this with him. And he told him, and okay, now we're getting into deep stuff. And the kid, and what can we call him? Because I need a name. What can we?
I need a name.
Bro, we need like a code name. We're gonna call him Georgia. Georgia. Okay. Georgia told Reed that he was like that, and Georgia, when I'm with him, the way he acts is totally different than when we got back to the room after walking around all day. We got back to the room. Reed called him and was like, I'm going to tell him you're in the shower. I was like, okay, that's cool. He tells him I'm in the shower, and the way his voice, yes, he is supposedly Mr. Veteran. He's a
I
veteran. He is
am
in the army, and
flabbergasted.
his voice got all high and flamboyant. I was like,
Bro,
and he thought I was in the shower, so I didn't hear any of the conversation.
I know
But-
this guy.
But shh, no one knows. Like when I mean no one knows, no one knows.
Yeah, but let me ask you a question. I'm not gonna out anybody. Isn't that the problem? Isn't that the overarching problem is whether they want to admit it or not, they are coming over here to infiltrate and make us gay friendly. How come we can't just tell them no?
When you go to his account, my mom always told me, people who have internalized homophobia, who just attack that community just out of nowhere, it might be something wrong with him. And he's like if you go to his page, he just out of the nowhere goes on anti-LGBTQ rants.
At least mine is
like I was about to pull up a picture to show y'all what he was wearing today. Then I forgot I can't do that. But bro had on this and we kept calling his shirt flamboyant, and he was so mad. Oh, he was mad. I was like, yeah, he's wearing this flamboyant shirt at the table with us. Everybody's looking at us. It's like
this nigga, what?
Right. And there's so many. I have put myself in this situation where I have found out more people are gay than I should know. Like there's some people who I'd rather not know are like that. Like I didn't want. Like I could really sit on here, Suni. Let them make me mad. Let them make me mad, Suni. I'll sit on here and I'll give you a list of names of diehard conservatives that you thought were for the movement. I'd name drop everybody. Because what I do is I sit back, I don't say anything, and I just watch. And stuff just so happens to pop up while I'm around. I don't say anything. I don't say I hate it. I don't say I like it. I just sit back and I just listen to what you got to say. That's the only reason I found this out. I'm still...
Listen.
Before I say this, let me make sure he's not awake.
Listen.
Yeah, he sleep. I still don't know 100% about that kid. He sleeps, so I can say that.
Listen.
So I'm like, it's...
Hey, y'all remember that representative who was like, we need people on our side to go in and run as Republicans because we need to change things from the inside. Do you remember that? Suni, you remember that, right?
I'm saying, say it again. Sorry.
Do you remember that representative who basically was like, we need to get people on our side, she's a Democrat, to go and run as Republicans?
I vaguely remember that. I don't remember who said it, but I do vaguely remember.
It was the one who was, she was the one who was talking about dope boy money.
Oh, I forgot her name. I know who you're talking about. I mean, I think that is a well-known, documented fact in this movement. And I'm going to be honest, I really saw it with Brexit. When I found all those people entering Brexit with nefarious intentions, I said, oh, hell, man. So I can only imagine it at this level, the political level. Where is it Rashida Tlaib? Isn't that her name?
Nah, that ain't her. That's
Tlaib.
Nah, listen.
Is that the one who just got caught on Project Veritas?
Yes.
Okay, I know who you're talking about. Let me play this video, and then you guys can stay backstage because I got to shut this down. I want to play this video. I'm only going to play a little bit of it. Actually, Liddell's not here, and I have no clue. Should I play it? I'm going to play it real quick.
Die hard, never gonna wake up to anything Democrats. They know something is not right. We told you that the Great Reset is the plan. The news on the Great Reset is breathtaking today. And the White House announced yesterday that they are going to get rid of Bitcoin and all cryptocurrency. It's got to go. IMF is going the same way. Well, why? Let me give you some numbers that have just been FOIA'd and released this week. Why this is not the number one story in the world, I don't know. But I haven't seen this reported anywhere. The Fed has a 2-year waiting period on information. So they can't tell you. You can't ask, and they can't tell you 2 years. They do something, and then you have to wait 2 years to say, what did you just do? Okay? Then it has to be FOIA'd. Well, 2 years, 2012, 2 years went by after 2008 to 2010, and they were FOIA'd. Tell us what you did. Well, they fought it, and they went all the way to the Supreme Court, and it was, the Fed said, we need 10 years. We need 10 years. It's very sensitive, 10 years. 10 years are up, so it's been FOIA'd. Let me give you what they did. Now, here's what they said they did. Do you remember the Tea Party started with TARP because we were so outraged that it was $787 billion. We were so outraged, almost $1 trillion to bail out these banks. Are you kidding me? I want you to remember that. $787 billion to bail out TARP, less than $1 trillion, the bailout for all of the banks. And we said, what are you doing? How could we possibly do that? Then the stimulus package, the Reinvestment Act, was $750 billion. So $1 trillion, what, 6, $1 trillion 5. That's what they said they spent. Then the Fed said, we have to, purchase things like mortgage bonds. So we're just adding money, but it's on our books. We're just going to print and digitize some money, and we're just going to buy some stuff, okay, from the banks. So they already had almost $1 trillion from us, the taxpayer. And then the Fed said, we're going to do $3.5 trillion to the banks. Okay. That's what they told us. Small problem with those official numbers. They're complete and total bullcrap. Levy Economics Institute is the one that got the FOIA, and they have the findings. And let me give you the truth of what the Fed did. Between 2008 and 2010, the Fed bailed out the banks. Now, they said they'd give $3.5 trillion. Well, Citigroup, it's almost nationalizing Citigroup. Citigroup got $2.5 trillion. Morgan Stanley got $2 trillion. Merrill Lynch got $1.9 trillion. Bank of America got $1.3 trillion. But that's not all. We gave billions to the Bank of Scotland, Germany, Switzerland, the UK, France, Belgium.
How I spend
What the fuck? I don't even want to watch any more of this. Hold up, bro.
4 hours to create
Bro, are y'all listening to these numbers?
We gave $3.7 trillion to Japan.
In what year? Wait a minute. What year? What year? Did I miss the year he was talking about? Did he say this year alone? Or hold on.
Not all. We gave billions to the Bank of Scotland, Germany, Switzerland, the UK, France, Belgium.
Bro.
We gave $3.7 trillion to Japan, $1.4 trillion to the UK, $1.3 trillion to Germany. We bailed the world out.
Wow.
To the tune. You want to know why they needed 10 years? To the tune of $29 trillion. They digitized $29 trillion and didn't tell you a damn thing about it.
Wow.
And they gave it to people all over the world. 3.7 trillion to Japan, to the UK, to Germany, separately. 1.4 to the UK, 1.3 to Germany. Now, gee, we're trying to figure out why inflation is going
so
through
high.
the roof.
Yeah.
1.4 to the UK. They're now reporting the highest inflation in 30 years. 1.3 million to Germany. The producer price inflation jumped in Germany 24.2%, the highest since World War II. You remember my prediction in 2010 when I was questioning this and I asked, is any of this money going overseas? Of course, that was insane to even ask. The reason why I asked is because if we inflate our money, the rest of the world will be hit first with inflation, much worse than ours. Much worse than ours. And these cowards all across the world who are politicians won't have the strength or moral character to say, well, I was involved. I politicked for that money. And I wanted that money over here, and America was giving it to us, and so we took it. They're not going to say that. They're going to say America inflated their money, and we have that money as our gold. We have that as our reserve currency. They, because of their lavish lifestyle and living it up, they just printed all of this money, and now we're all screwed. That's what's going to happen. Mark my words, and it's going to happen faster than you think, because there's more news. It's not just the 30 trillion that we know about. It's now verified through FOIA. We can show you the numbers. That's a fact. But that's ancient history. Do you remember when they started giving money in 2019, right before, like 3 months before the pandemic? And I said at the time, there's a crash coming. Something is happening. This is not normal. And we couldn't get anyone to comment on it. No one would say a word. No economist could explain what the banks were doing. And I said, this is the biggest robbery of all time, the biggest redistribution of wealth. We are going to find out. Well, let me tell you in 60 seconds what they did. Now, we're going to have to probably wait 10 years for verification of this. But let me just take them at their word and do the math. If you think $30 trillion is outrageous, you haven't seen anything yet. So do you remember back in 2019, something started with the banks and they started giving them emergency cash because there was some sort of fluctuation and we couldn't figure it out. No economist could. I mean, literally leading economists on CNBC and everything else, they were talking about it, but not a big deal. But they were talking about it and they were like, we don't know what this is. Okay. And I said, they are bailing out the banks. They are transferring wealth and they're doing it on an epic scale. And it started at $50 billion a day. They were making available any bank that needed it could get $50 billion to loan overnight. And then you'd pay it back the next day. Then it became the first night there was such demand, it quickly went up to $150 billion every single night. And you didn't have to pay it back right away. First it was right away, then it was 3 days, then it was a couple of weeks, and then it was, I think, 3 months. And then it became kind of like, do you ever have to pay this back? Then we went into the pandemic. April of 2020, they began issuing loans $1 trillion per week. Officials tell me most likely they don't have to ever pay that back. All these loans, they're not actually getting, nobody's getting the money back. Okay. $1 trillion a week. We know that to be a fact. Now, because of the secrecy of the Fed, we can't verify what I'm going to do, but let's do the math. And this would be insane. I would have never done this if we hadn't have gotten the official numbers from the Fed of what they did in 2008 to 2010,
this is nuts, guys.
where they digitized $30 trillion and then lied to us and said it was only $30 trillion. That's a fact. The fact is, in April, they said they were going to continue this loan to all of the banks at $1 trillion a week. Well, it's been 95 weeks.
$1 trillion a freaking week. You know what? I'm going to clip this and I'm going to post it. This has been a very eye-opening live. I hope everyone who tuned in tonight, you take something from this live. Don't take my word for anything that I said here today, Caleb, any of us. Go look into all these things yourself. I do always encourage people to follow Glenn Beck. Pay that $10 for Blaze TV because it's well worth it. It is right now the only news source that is not biased in some ways. And they have a wide variety of people you can go watch. What's his name? Chad Prather's on there. Mark Levin. What's his name? Steven Crowder. There's a few other people that I like watching on there. But please go support this guy. Go support the people that are supporting you by giving you the actual news. Independent. #fact Crowder. Yes. Wow. That is insane. I hope he puts the actual literature up there so that people can see it. He's normally good about that. He'll post it and talk about it, but holy shit. While we close out, I'm going to play this video. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're on YouTube, hit the notification bell so that you never miss another live. And I promise I will be back consistent on my YouTube channel. I have just been busy doing other things, coming up with other stuff, but thank you guys for tuning in.
I'm Lieutenant Williams, a police officer attached to the Juvenile Division. I'm on my way to Monroe Junior High School to talk to a group of young people. That looks innocent enough, doesn't it? Lots of young people hitchhike. Seems like a good way to get from one place to another. But sometimes there are dangers involved that never meet the eye. Let's take the case of Jimmy Barnes. Jimmy played baseball all afternoon, and he didn't feel like walking home, so he decided to thumb a ride. He'd done it 100 times before, and he didn't think anything was unusual when the driver struck up a friendly conversation. In fact, he seemed like a real nice guy. He asked Jimmy if he played baseball in the park often. Jimmy told him they practiced 3 times a week and played a rival group on Friday afternoon. The stranger was a good listener, too, and it only seemed minutes before they pulled up in front of Jimmy's house. When Jimmy got out, the stranger gave him a friendly pat. Then he told him he'd see him again, as he always drove by the park on his way home. Sure enough, the following day when Jimmy finished playing ball, well, the man was there waiting. They stopped at a drive-in, and the stranger treated him to a Coke. During their conversation, he told several off-color jokes, but Jimmy had heard others before, and, well, it made him feel big to so easily win the confidence of an older person. The following Saturday, they went fishing together. By now, they were using first names. Ralph said it was more friendly. Jimmy hadn't enjoyed himself so much in a long time. Then during lunch, Ralph showed him some pornographic pictures. Jimmy knew he shouldn't be interested, but, well, he was curious. What Jimmy didn't know was that Ralph was sick, a sickness that was not visible like smallpox, but no less dangerous and contagious, a sickness of the mind. You see, Ralph was a homosexual, a person who demands an intimate relationship with members of their own sex. But by now, Jimmy felt a fondness for Ralph, and they continued to go places together. Ralph was generous and took Jimmy many interesting places and did many nice things for him. He bought presents and even gave him money, but payments were expected in return. You see, Jimmy hadn't recognized Ralph's approach soon enough. When Ralph first asked Jimmy to go fishing alone, he should have discussed it with his parents or teacher. Finally, Jimmy told his parents, and they reported it to the juvenile authorities. Ralph was arrested, and Jimmy was released on probation in the custody of his parents. But all homosexuals are not passive. Some resort to violence, as in the case of Mike Merrick. In the heat of competition, no one noticed the man who sat and watched. And when the game broke up and the others left, Mike decided to stay and practice a little longer. The stranger joined him. He was friendly and, well, it was better than playing alone. But after a few shots, Mike realized he had already overstayed his time and suggested he better leave. The stranger told him if he'd like to stay longer, he'd be glad to drive him home when they finished. Sounded great to Mike. Chance to play longer and get a ride home, too. When they finished, the stranger told him he'd make a fine player someday if he got lots of practice. The companionship, the praise, the friendly attitude dispelled any misgivings Mike might have had about going with a stranger. He probably never realized until too late that he was riding in the shadow of death. But sometime that evening, Mike Merrick traded his life for a newspaper headline. As Denny and Jerry got the papers ready for Jerry's afternoon delivery, they only casually noticed the two boys that raced by in the afternoon traffic, and they didn't pay much attention to the car that drew up shortly afterwards until the man called them over. Had two boys been by on bicycles? The boys nodded they had. Could they recognize them if they saw them again? Well, Denny guessed he could. And hop in, the man said. Those are stolen bikes. Without giving it another thought, Denny got in and the car sped away. Jerry watched. He'd been told many times, if a friend got in a car with a stranger, to write down the license number. It didn't seem to apply, but, well, fortunately, he marked it down. When he delivered a paper to Denny's house, he asked his mother if they'd caught the boys that had stolen the bicycles. Denny hadn't returned, so he told her the story and gave her the paper with the license number. Being a careful parent, she decided to call the police. Jerry supplied the necessary information, and the stranger's car was quickly spotted. It was a good example of how important it is to always get the license number and description of any stranger who takes a young person off alone, no matter what they tell you. Public restrooms can often be a hangout for the homosexual. Bobby and his friends hadn't noticed the man who had been in the restroom when they changed, and as it was late, he suggested they take the shortcut under the pier, but the others preferred to take the more traveled way home. When Bobby recognized the stranger as the man in the restroom, the shortcut under the pier didn't seem like a good idea at all. After all, it's more fun to stay with your friends anyway. Bobby had made a wise decision. It may have saved his life. The decision is always yours, and your whole future may depend on making the right one. So no matter where you meet a stranger, be careful if they are too friendly, if they try to win your confidence too quickly, and if they become overly personal. One never knows when the homosexual is about. He may appear normal, and it may be too late when you discover he is mentally ill. So keep with your group, and don't go off alone with strangers unless you have the permission of your parent or teacher.